Welcome back to Franco Fridays. Today I'm back with the second of the crime noir double feature here from Severin. I talked about Death Whistles the Blues a few weeks ago, and now we're going to talk about Rififi in the City from 1964. Probably made around 1962, 63. Originally, it was funded by French money, and the French money didn't pan out. And so Franco, as always, was able to get it done somehow. But and ironically enough, when it was released first in France, even though the funding didn't come from France. So go figure. But it was filmed in Spain, Madrid, and parts of Spain, which is shocking, honestly, because obviously General Franco, the fascist, was still in control, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out who the lead villain is patterned after. But anyway, so let's get into this. Rififi in the City. So what the hell is Rififi? I tried looking it up, and it's apparently untranslatable. But the closest that I can come to a translation is rough and tumble or ready to rumble. Rififi's Ready to Rumble, kind of like Fight Club type deal. That's about as close as I can come to some kind of a translation. The film is about a unscrupulous nightclub owner who also appears to be a drug lord, and he's using the nightclub as cover for his criminal operations. And as one would expect, he has political aspirations, which is why, again, I think the fact that this film got released under the Franco regime at all is shocking. I can't believe they didn't confiscate this thing, because it's pretty clear who the villain is mimicking or modeled for. But the film is Franco's first based on a novel. It's based on a pulp novel. So really the idea of Le Prince in this case is the villain, the main character in this film. It comes from a novel. So you really, extrapolating that into, well, this is kind of a take on General Franco, the fascist, is, even though I think that is the case to some extent. The book was out way before that, and so you'd have to blame the book before you could blame the movie anyway. But it is Franco's first attempt to bring to film a novel, and it's a great film. I think both these films are fantastic. They've got some wonderful cinematography. The real kind of the problem with Rififi is the pacing. The narrative is slow, and you get the build up towards the third act, but you don't get any speeding up of the pacing. So the pacing is the same whether it's 5 minutes into the film or an hour and 15 minutes into the film, and I think that's kind of a problem. But on the other hand, it's got some of this beautiful cinematography that you're going to see in the Franco filmography. Wonderful lighting, wonderful shadow camera work, very noirish. I mean, it's perfect stuff, and there's no wonder that Orson Welles thought so much of these two films that he tried to get and did subsequently get Franco to help him as an assistant director. The guy that did the camera work on this is Godofredo Paco, who I don't know that did much else with Franco, but what he did here is cinema gold. Like I say, stylistically, this is a beautiful film, and it's got some great set pieces. The villain in this, a guy named Le Prince, is the villain. He doesn't have enough to do. He just has a paucity of material. He's not enough of a baddie to really grab you and hold you in this film. He just doesn't have enough to do, and I don't know if that's the script or what was the problem there. But you're told that Le Prince is a bad guy, and he does do some bad things, but it's all usually kind of indirect. And so he never really comes off as the baddie that he needs to be. I think in order to make this say a 8 or 9 out of 10 type movie. Um, the paucity of action with the prince, yeah, I think is definitely an issue. Uh, but the film has a number of set pieces, kills that are interesting. There's a causeway, seaside causeway kill where a guy's walking down a very dimly lit causeway area near the seaside, and you've got the murderer kind of in shadow, following behind him. That's very gorgeous. It reminds me a lot of The Third Man with the Orson Welles flick. And then one of the wife of I think it was the wife of the the cop. Her name was Pillar, I think. She has a car crash that looks. I mean, that could really easily just has come from an Argento film. It was a very effective kill. Daniel White's musical score is again a major hit here. He has some great Latin jazz numbers that were outstanding. Can't say enough about that. Solid effort here from Franco. So I highly recommend this release. Uh, as far as special features, I think I talked about this in the last video with Death Whistles the Blues. Is that the only thing you get here is like a 30-minute interview with Stephen Thrower talking about these two films, and it's the same. So it's the same bonus feature on both films, which is kind of disappointing, but it's great stuff. And of course, Stephen Thrower did 2 voluminous books on Jess Franco, which I have both over here. I don't know if they're both out of print or not, but I'd highly recommend anybody that's a Franco fan grab those 2 books. The Delirious Cinema of Jess Franco. I mean, each one is like this thick. I mean, it's crazy stuff. But yeah, I think this is definite. This is one that I think that even if you're not a Franco fan, but you like crime noir or you like Poliziotteschi movies, I would recommend it. Something's going on with my camera here. I got a little static there. So that's going to do it for this Friday's Franco. Next week, at some point, I'm going to do Macumba Sexual. That's another Severin release. And then after that, we're going to do Faceless. And both those films, I've previously done reviews. I think those were the DVDs. So if you want to see what my thoughts were from a few years back, you can go through the playlist and check them out. But I'm going to be updating my thoughts on each of those films in the coming weeks. Lots of Franco stuff coming out, or is out already. Mondo Macabro put out some stuff, and that's soon to be delivered, apparently. I've been tracking it. So a lot of Franco stuff to look forward to. If you have any thoughts about these films or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks.